Welcome to Confab number 2. For the moment, this will be my last video while the other videos are posting. I'm going to post this video. This video is important. It is going to touch on some hard topics, and these topics are basically centered around racism. So, before I get started, I want y'all to understand that if you are not of a strong heart and a strong will, this video is not for you. Alright? And so, I'm going to begin soon, but I want you guys to understand that I'm slightly biased in this. But I'm also not going to deny the truth that is. Alright? I'm going to piss a lot of guys off here. I'm going to piss you off if you're a Trump supporter. I'm going to piss you off if you're a Biden supporter. And I voted for Biden for the simple fact that Elizabeth Warren didn't win the primary. Andrew Yang dropped out. Pete Buttigieg, Buddha, whatever the hell his name is, also dropped out. But this is not about politics. I don't give a damn if you're a Trump supporter. I will still love and respect you even if you voted for outward racist. Now, I've made videos about this shit before, and there are a fuck ton of reasons why people have followed Trump. Alright? 9 times out of 10 it's got something to do with their wallet getting a little bit thicker. Alright? Because hands down, the man is a businessman. The flip side of that hand is that the man is also a racist. Or a bigot. Or both. And you may agree with his shit. And the reason you may agree with his shit is because it's not affecting you directly. It's not affecting your friends. It's not affecting your family. It's got nothing to do with you. You may not be a racist, but agree with his racist views. That's pretty much the words that I'm trying to say. And you don't have to be a racist to agree with a racist. You don't. Because if somehow or another his logic makes sense on some level or another, and it's helping you, then most people generally turn a blind eye. So again, if I offend you with this video, if you choose to leave my channel, if you choose not to follow me on Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, or wherever the hell you're following me at, it's fine. I am not going to be horribly upset with you. My Hollywood career is not happening, may never happen, and I have come to terms with that, And yeah, I need to get a real job as much as I would much rather be happy being in front of the camera, making movies and shit like that. It hasn't happened in 20 years. So I have to shift gears, and before I quit, before I retire, before I do anything that I don't want to do, I will put all my shit up as a last-ditch effort when I'm done. Everything I've ever done will be up on YouTube before I'm done. Or before I die, unless I die in a terrible, horrible accident before this shit gets to come to fruition. So for those who are new to the channel, let me introduce myself. My name is James Williams Jr. I am a person of mixed ethnicity, and this is why I can make this racist video and walk down the line, because I am part Cherokee Indian, I am part black, and I am part white. I'm the only one who can walk in all 3 of your worlds and relate to each and every last one of you. Now granted, I have probably a better shot of billing myself out as an actor as a Native American, because being mixed has not worked for me in 20 years. And most people don't even know that I'm mixed. They just assume that I'm either a Native American, a Hawaiian, or a Mexican. Alright? All jokes aside, you'd be surprised at the things I've been called growing up here in Virginia. Specifically in Charlottesville, who everybody didn't know was a racist place until the Unite the Right came through. And now everybody's eyes are open. So Charlottesville's officially awoke. Since 2017, we have been awoke. But for the people of color who were on board the woke train before the death of Miss Hire, we were already there. Y'all just playing catch up. So let's begin this video now. If you haven't been aware, if you haven't been watching the news, there's been an ongoing surge of attacks on Asian people. I know you're thinking, but James, why does this concern you so much? Maybe you missed the part about me being Native American. And biologically, Native Americans are Asian. I am also black. I am also white. I will never be able to literally claim any of my white heritage. My skin is not light enough. Alright? I will never really be accepted by blacks or Native Americans. I learned that the hard way. When a Native American made sure that I couldn't date a Native American girl because she was the daughter of a high chieftain's son or some shit. She had some pull in her tribe, and they specifically were in wheelchairs, and they specifically said, we don't want no unpure bloods in our family. So don't think that racism does not span Native Americans, because it does. I've been the victim of some Native American racism, period. But worse than that, I've been the victim of black racism all my life because of being mixed and them not knowing what I am. So since Native Americans are biologically Asian, this should affect them as well, because you don't know who's looking at you and who's racist and who doesn't know what your race is, so they just decide, hey, we're going to attack you. Now, there's always been racism in America. But since our former president versus our new president, we're going to see what he does. But since our former president has released an influx of racism towards Chinese people. I got a lot of Chinese friends. I got a lot of Vietnamese friends. I got a lot of Korean friends. I got a lot of Asian friends. Point blank period. Some of them were in some of my movies. Not the series that got stolen, but in my very first movie, I had 6 or 7 Asian people in it. I had Adrian Cow, who played my brother. I had Eric Chen, who played my enemy. I had Philip, whose last name I can't remember, played my friend, who also was kidnapped. I had the Bowie sisters in V, and I thank you, all of you. Even though I have failed you all, I still thank you, and I consider you friends, and I hope your lives are well. But I worry about your safety. Every day I worry about your safety, because I don't know where any of you guys are. I worry about your safety. Alright? Because there's been a fuck ton of people of color, black and white, attacking Asians. And so I'm going to address this. And if you don't like this video, you can stop right now. Because as bad as it has been, it got worse for Asians and blacks when Trump took over. Especially with the Kung Flu or the Chinese virus. When those things start coming out of his mouth, I got friends that weren't in my movies that are Asian, that I have been feared that somebody might get stupid and say, hey, this guy's Chinese. He might look Chinese, but he might not be Chinese. But we're going to fuck him up because he's Asian. Olivia Munn just came on TV 2 days ago about a lady who got thrown across the fucking damn block, basically, by a white dude because she was Asian. So if you don't think this video is good for you, then let me take it back to an established point that I've made in other videos about Trump. And this video ain't solely about Trump, so don't get it twisted. I'm not here to insult Trump. I'm here to smack some faith and some truth into y'all about this man. So not only did I have problems in '93 with the UFC, but I had problems with this man too, with coming out with Native Americans shouldn't be able to run casinos. You guys can go find that footage. It's in the archives. It's not just on mine, but I had to go find footage to show y'all where he doesn't like Native Americans. Let's fast forward to talking to the code talkers, the Navajo, when he talks about Elizabeth Bourne being Pocahontas in front of Navajo. And none of his people said, hey man, too far. Everybody in the world was fucking stunned, but nobody said anything. Nobody. Nobody got on him. None of his people got on him on Twitter when he's talking to the old Native American man and he's saying, yeah, we have someone who's been here just as long as y'all have been. Y'all are very special people. We have someone who's been here just as long as y'all have been. We like to call her Pocahontas. Even the Native American man got a chuckle, which was kind of wrong. But he got a little chuckle. You can see he wanted to break. He broke a little bit. But the older Native American man, he didn't find that shit funny. Watch the video. He didn't find that shit funny at all. He got a little bit angry. Watch the videos. 3 of them there. The older one in the back, not the one in the wheelchair, the older one. He didn't find that shit funny at all. Because Pocahontas and Sacagawea are heroes. Geronimo was a hero. Swanto, questionable, we're going to call him a hero today. A lot of other Native Americans that are legends that the world doesn't get to know about. They don't get to know about Coyote. They don't get to know about the Yetis and all the other wars and things and legendary crap. They don't get to know about the Thunderbird. Oh, that's pushed to the side. It's folklore. We don't want to hear that. Let's move forward or backwards. When the young Asian reporter was asking him about the coronavirus, and he goes, "Why don't you ask China?" And I'm sure all you Trump supporters, if you've made it this far, you're looking at me and saying, "No, fuck you, James. She had that coming." No, she didn't. Because then he disrespected the white lady who gave up her spot for the Asian lady. And then let's talk about Billy Bush. Because I don't have a career. I'm probably never going to get one with these videos coming back to bite me in the ass. But that's okay. Because I'm believing in what I stand for. Or standing up for what I believe in. Wrong is wrong. Period. Billy Bush did nothing wrong and lost his job from Extra. Alright? Billy Bush hasn't worked in almost maybe 3 or 4 years. Letting his wife carry the load. I mean, you know, if you're in the entertainment business, the money is addictive. Because it's not like a regular 9-to-5 job. It's not I work for 2 hours and get $10,000 versus I work from 9 to 5, I get maybe $15 an hour, and at the end of 2 weeks, I may have $2,000, which goes into my house rent, my cell phone, my car payments, and by the time I'm done, I'm lucky I have groceries, and then I gotta wait 2 more weeks, where at the end of the month, if I didn't pay my rent at the beginning of the month, I pay my rent at the end of the month, and now if I'm lucky, I have groceries, where when my acting career takes off, believe me, I know how it feels to be poor. So you better believe the first check is going to the house. The second check is going to my stomach. I don't need anything else. I need to eat. I can walk around in ragamuffin clothes. I'll be alright with that. Because I walk around in ragamuffin clothes already. Because I'm going to not spend money that I don't need on shit that I don't need. I don't need a fancy car. I just need one that works. I don't need a fancy house. I just need one that's mine. It ain't got to have 20 bedrooms. It ain't got to be a mansion. It just got to have enough room for me. And if I get lucky enough to get married to my crush, for her. But mostly for her. The point being made is my crush is also Chinese. So I definitely fear for her safety. This insurgence of attacks on Asians only got worse with Trump in office. And then I watched some videos. Oh, don't worry, I'm about to call y'all Asians out. I watched some videos where there's some Asians that support Trump. I'm calling you fuckers out right now. And I'm sorry for cussing you out. I'm sorry for making you feel inadequate about what I'm about to say. But what I'm about to say is 1,000% truth. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry. Because it's factual and it's truth. See, when Trump started talking about the Kung Flu and the Chinese virus, other Asians might have been a little bit safe. Might have been a little bit safe. And you've only been safe because it didn't come out of your country. Yeah, it didn't come from the Philippines. It didn't come from Japan. It didn't come from Korea. The Chinese virus, as he calls it, came from Wuhan, China. So now if you're Asian-ish or Asian-looking, you are a fucking target. You could be from Japan and some racist motherfucker will think that you're from China and be saying, "Hey, that's a Chinese motherfucker. Let's get him." You could be from the Philippines and some racist motherfucker would be like, "Hey, that's a Chinese guy or a girl. Let's get him." Because they're from China and they brought this virus over here. You could be from China and ain't never been to China a day in your life because you was born on American soil, which makes you American by legal standards, but Chinese by ethnicity and race. And some little racist motherfucker can come by and say, "Hey, it's a Chinese motherfucker. They brought the Chinese virus here." But mind you, you've never been to China. So they're going to attack you. And you can tell me all you want in the comments that I'm full of shit. But if you go back to when the swine flu happened, or the swan flu happened, and on Obama's watch, there wasn't that many racist attacks. There were still some racist attacks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Obama because the swine flu or S1N1 or whatever the fuck they called it, that also originated in China. But there wasn't any Chinese attacks. My favorite female comedian, who's Korean, came up with it, and by the way, it was called SARS, or SARS, Severe Asian Racist Syndrome. Alright? Hey, nothing wrong with Asian comedian making fun of an Asian disease, because, you know, it's an Asian thing. It's just like when black people say bad things about black people, and white people say bad things about white people. I'm there. I get it. But see, when SARS happened, this is what happened to Asian people. Oh, you're an Asian. When COVID-19 happened, this is what happened to Asian people. I'm going to bust your shit. I don't like Asians. I'm going to start beating you with sticks. Start chasing old men away from bags when he's collecting bags of cans. Like black people don't collect cans. Like white people don't collect cans. Hell, white people started collecting cans because they started making the aluminum. They started recycling the aluminum. Black people picked it up and started doing double the work. Asian people picked it up and started doing triple the work. You understand where I'm going with that? We're all human beings. We deserve to be respected, not rejected, for something that no one has the ability to change. Yeah, I can get surgery. I can fix my chin and make my skin light. But I will never fully be white. Yeah, I can get surgery. They can fix my eyes and make them a little bit more slanted than they already are. I don't need that. But they can do that. And I can be full-on Hawaiian. Or Mexican. Or Samoan. I'm not going to do that. I can goop up my hair and put it in dreadlocks and be full-on black. We tried the high top fade. That shit didn't work. Everybody in CHS remembers that I had a high top fade. That shit didn't work. Because my hair is curly. And if it wasn't for Royal Crown, my hair wouldn't be straight right now. I can get a relaxer. I should do it. But I'm not going to do that. Because Royal Crown does its job. So I don't need relaxers. I used to use those in the 20s. But everyone knows, and everyone here should care, that the insurgence of racial attacks on Asians have increased exponentially since Trump got in. Now back on calling out the Asians that are for Trump. I made a video about this, and if you're Asian and you're for Trump, I'm going to call you out, and I'm sorry. And I'm not sorry at the same time, because I'm hoping like fuck that this is about your wallet, because this is the one thing that Native Americans learned that everybody from Asia should have learned. Alright? See, Native Americans are biologically Asian, but Native Americans lost this country to the Europeans because we had no idea what the fuck was coming. Superior firepower, superior weapons. They didn't have superior lay of the land, but they had everything else. We had superior lay of the land, but the problem was Native Americans were at war with Native Americans. Over territory, over food, over women. So when the Europeans came in, it was so easy to get wiped out. Which goes back to what affects one Native American tribe affects all Native American tribes. Understand, if you're Native American and you didn't go and stand up for Standing Rock, you're part of the problem. So you Asians that were for Trump, because they weren't fucking up your grandmother and throwing people halfway across the street. They weren't setting your ass on fire. They weren't spraying your kind with Febreze, because you're not Chinese. Newsflash for you. They were still spraying other Asian people who were not Chinese. But yet you want to celebrate this dude. So again, if you're an Asian and you're for Trump, I'm calling you out. I'm pissing you off and I'm sorry. If you're a Mexican and you're calling for following Trump, I'm calling you out. Because the first thing this man said about Mexicans were, you're all drug dealers, rapists, and murderers. And yet, you're all out there, Mexicanos, Trump 2020. Other Asians that weren't Chinese, Trump 2020. And my God, if any of you Native Americans were out there, Trump 2020. you damn sure need to be slapped. Why did I say that? Because I'm part Cherokee. I've watched how this man has treated Native Americans from 1993 to Standing Rock. Because the first thing he told the Sioux from Standing Rock was, I have no ties with the pipeline. I have no intentions of letting the Keystone Pipeline come through your land. Obama, last day in office. Keystone Pipeline will not go through Sioux territory. As a decree of the President of the United States, the highest power in the land, no one can undo this thing. Day one, Trump comes in, undoes that. Keystone Pipeline's coming through. Fuck the Sioux. And something that Native Americans learned after losing this country was, what affects one tribe of Native Americans affects all tribes of Native Americans, which is why there should be more unity amongst the Native Americans, including us unpure blood like me. So you don't like this speech, you don't like this video, go. I'm not holding you here. Because most people understand this. It is kind to be kind. It is great to tell the truth, but the truth is not always kind. And I'm not going to be kind in this video. Because the insurgents attack on racist people who are fucking throwing Asians halfway across the fucking block. It's fucked up. The lady was in her 50s. He was a man. He couldn't find an Asian man to push because he knew an Asian man would fuck him up. He couldn't find a black man to push because he knew a black man would fuck him up. He couldn't find a non-racist white man to push because he knew that non-racist white man would fuck him up. And the fact that it's happening in New York, so shit like this is kind of something that people in New York are desensitized to. I'm sorry, New Yorkers. I've been there. I know. A lot of New Yorkers, oh, guy got shot over there. Other guy told his shoes. Psh, well, better him than me. Keep on moving. It's kind of like the Deadpool commercial where Deadpool's changing his clothes and everybody's hearing the guy holler and scream and doing nothing. It's kind of New York. Now, New York's gotten a lot better since 9/11, but still, it's kind of New York. Now, my other problem that I had with Trump was that he was not man enough to apologize to the Central Park 6, 7, Central Park 5, whatever the fuck the number is, of the young men who went to jail for a rape that they didn't commit. And while they were young, and Donald Trump was about my age, in his 40s, maybe his 30s, talking about these young black guys need to bring the death penalty back so these young men can get fried for a rape, mind you, that they did not commit. Mind you, the DNA proves them to be innocent. I apologize for this video. One more time. I will apologize probably 2 or 3 more times before this video was up or over. But the fact of the matter is, if you were with Trump while you were letting this racist rhetoric destroy half of an Asian nation, destroy immigrants and Mexicans, destroy blacks, and if all of you are of those people, blacks, Asians, Mexicans, anybody who supported the racist part of that shit, there's something wrong with you. Maybe deep down you're a racist. Maybe you needed somebody to come with the forefront and let you know that it's okay to be a racist. Well, guess what? I'm going to agree with that. It is okay to be a racist. If it's okay for you to be a racist, then it is okay for someone who is not racist who punches you in the mouth. Why is it okay? Well, here's the thing about being a victim of racism, because I've been a victim of racism all my motherfucking life. And I'm 47. There's nothing that I can't tell you that I have not been called by someone of one of the 3 primary races in which my ass belongs to. Yes, I am part Cherokee. Yes, I had some Native Americans tell me that I was not pure blood. And you know something my Native American grandmother and great-grandmother never prepared me for. Because apparently Cherokee gets around. And I was never told that I would never ever be not welcomed into a Cherokee tribe or any Native American tribe up until that day where that young man in the wheelchair told me that I couldn't mess with his niece or great niece or whatever she was to him because she was the daughter of a high chief or a counselor or someone who had some pull in their tribe. And then the same tribe, another dude, rolled up on me in his wheelchair and said the same shit right downtown across from Staples at the school that was formerly known as the Jefferson School. I ain't forgot the day, I ain't forgot the place, and I ain't forgot the time. Because the first guy talked to me, it was like 3:30. The next guy came out, it was 3:45. Hadn't seen the girl any day after that. So whenever I had to go film them shooting the wheelchair basketball stuff, she was on the team. That was the only time that she could really say hi to me, and it had to be a quick hi. Because I'm not pure blood. You see where I'm going with that? And now I'm about to get racist. I'm about to get even more racist because there has been many a times where white people have called me chief. And where black people have called me a nigger. Where both blacks and whites have called me a half-breed. I've only had 2 incidents with Native Americans where they have told me that I wasn't pure blood. So don't tell me about racism. And don't tell me that Trump didn't excite it. Because he kind of did. But he didn't do none of that shit to me. That was already done before he ever got into the office. So I can't blame him for none of that shit. And anybody who thinks being racist is cool or being racist is right, wait till you're the victim. Then come back and talk to me. I knew one man who was a racist. And I liked that one man. And you know why I liked that one man? Because he was an honest motherfucker about being racist. He straight told me and my roommate, well, it wasn't my roommate, it was my bro's roommate. My bro who just had a birthday on Valentine's Day. How you doing, B? He straight told us. He don't fucking like black people. We got a hall pass because we treated his son like he was one of us. Because his son was one of us. But he was honest about that shit. He looked me dead in my face. He's like, yeah, I know you mixed. What you mixed with? And I told him, I'm part Cherokee, I'm part black, I'm part white. He said, oh, you're a triple threat. Well, I only don't like one part of you. It ain't nothing you can do about it. But you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like black people. You don't look black, so you're good. But you also treat my son like he's a person. So I'm going to treat you like a person. Until that day, that is the only racist man I ever met that I liked. Because he was honest about that shit. Up forward and honest. Yeah, I hate black people. Told me and my boy B that shit from the fucking jump. We was cool with that. Because he was honest about that shit. But when he came in that house, not one time did he use the word nigger. Not one time. That entire time that my bro lived with that dude, son, not one time, as we lived up the hill from Belmont Park, not one time did his roommate's dad come in there and say, nigga, 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 nigga. He never used that word. He came in that house with respect. He left that house with respect. But he straight up told us from the day we met him, he was a racist. Ain't too many people can do that and live with that. And I will respect that man until the day I die because of that shit. If you are undercover racist and you are supporting someone who's chunking down your race, like our great president who said, all these Mexicans are coming up in here and they're drug dealers and rapists and murderers and shit. All these immigrants who's coming over here, they're drug dealers and rapists and murderers and shit. He ain't saying shit about Native Americans because he only knows one line, talking about Elizabeth Warren there, you know. We have Pocahontas in the White House. No, that's cool. He didn't say too many things about black people, and if he did, they fucking got rid of Omarosa so she couldn't tell anybody what the fuck he said. She even admitted to being threatened by certain people in the White House for her not to say shit. And everybody got a damn book deal. Everybody. Everybody got a book deal. I'm not here to hurt people's feelings. I'm not here to stomp a mud hole in Trump. That's not my point. My point is that when he started talking about the Kung flu and the Chinese virus, the attack on Asians magnified 1,000. In New York alone, 7 Asians that were attacked, that were televised, you know, the girl on the subway train that got into a fight with the black guy, The Asian lady that got sprayed by Febreze, the man on the train that got sprayed by Febreze, the 2 black girls that jumped the 50-year-old Asian woman, the 2 Asian men that had to save an Asian woman who was set on fire, sadly again by another pair of black girls. So, before Kung Flu and the Chinese virus came out of former President Trump's mouth, there wasn't too much violence against Asians like that. Yeah, there was still racism. But it wasn't like that. You didn't have men throwing little old ladies across the fucking street. You didn't have that shit. But we got it now. You have it now. And all of you who are a Trump supporter, I ain't got nothing against you. Maybe your moral compass might need to be adjusted. But I will say that before that, that's how that shit happened. And hold it, before you write anything about Obama, I'm going to get on his ass too, don't worry. Because when the swine flu came out, he damn sure won't let no Asians in this country. If you had to come to this country and you were Asian, you had to go through Canada first. And you had to become Canada's problem. And then if you were an American, you weren't allowed back in this country when Obama was in charge until you were tested and made sure that you didn't have the S1N1 or the swan flu or whatever, or SARS or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So yeah, I did not let Obama off the fucking hook either. But see, in that process, you have to understand when you weigh the pros and cons about how Obama dealt with SARS versus how Trump dealt with COVID-19. The racism for Asians for SARS was bad, but people won't get in their ass kicked. People won't get shot. All we did was one of these numbers. We got to get away from these Asians. They got the Asian cooties. But see, the Chinese virus, Wuhan, they just blew that all out the water. It's like Wuhan suddenly became the biggest province in China. And everybody from China, even if you weren't from China, even if you was an American and never been to China, your spider senses had to start going off. Because you were getting attacked left and right and left and right. But, I could be wrong. It's just a matter of principle. It is a matter of principle. And if I'm pissing y'all off and you're a Trump supporter again, I'm sorry. Let me explain that. I'm sorry. I'm not against you because you voted for Trump. But I am against Trump because the motherfucker is a racist. Possibly a bigot. I'm possibly going to lose some followers here. And I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose some followers here. But you're always going to be welcome back regardless of that. I voted for Biden because Elizabeth Warren didn't win. I really didn't have much of a choice. But there was no way in hell that I was going to vote for a man who looked at wind talkers, code talkers, military men, where his family has not served. My family has served. Some of you have served. Some of your families have served. And we are brothers and sisters in arms. We took that fucking oath of service to protect and serve this country from insurgents and outsurgents. To sit there and tell a Navajo wind talker that we have Pocahontas in office pissed me off. In 1993, they don't look like Indians to me. Pissed me off. So you see, I had a little bit of a history with this man. Not personal history, but just the shit that has allowed to come out of his mouth. And all of y'all who support him, I don't have nothing personal against you. Unless you're racist. Now, if you're supporting him because this is my wallet. Technically, this is a lanyard, but it's still my wallet because it has my debit cards in there. It ain't getting fat. But if you're supporting him because of that and your wallet's getting fat and your house is getting paid a little bit faster, I hear you. I got respect for that. But if you're supporting him because you agree with the fact that he said that Mexicans are racist, Mexicans are rapists, Mexicans are drug dealers, I don't respect that. I know some Mexicans that are not. I know some Hispanics that are not. I know some Asians that are not. I know some blacks that are not. And I know some whites that are not. So as long as you're not racist and you voted for Trump, I'm good with that. But if you are racist and you voted for Trump, I am not good with that. Because anybody who is racist, I'm sorry, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, if you are a racist, unless you are an honest racist, I ain't really got no respect for you. I got respect for honest racists because they are honest racists, with the exception of one honest racist that I really don't like because, you know, Jason Kessler went a little bit too far. You know, Miss Heyer lost her life for Unite the Right. And she wasn't with Unite the Right. She was standing against them with black people. And then some jackass from either Tennessee or Ohio decided he wanted to become a martyr for a racist cause and plowed his car into tons of black people, killing one white lady. So if you are a racist and that's what you do, I got no love for you. But if you are a racist and you are honest, see, I can respect you. I can work with you. I can deal with you as long as we're in a working environment. But when we get off the clock, you stay away from me, I'm going to stay away from you, and the problem is solved. And here's the thing. I want to end this video on a positive note. So I'm going to try to end this video on as positive note as possible. Racism is a choice. Understand that. Racism is a choice. While you all flocking around worrying about the Kanye and Kim divorce, racism is a choice. Understand, when you see somebody who is black or Asian or white, regardless of how they speak to you, regardless of how you feel about that race of people, understand the one true fact that this video is going to drop right now. I didn't get a choice. I did not look at God before I got here and say, hey God, I want to be a full-blooded Cherokee. No, I didn't get to say that. White people didn't get to say, hey God, we want to be white and we want to be rich. They didn't get to say that. Blacks didn't say, hey God, we want to be black, we want to be thugs, we want to be thorough. We didn't get to say that. Any other race on the planet didn't get to say that. You do not get a choice in your race or your gender. You do get a choice on how you choose to treat other people. That's where I'm ending this. You get a choice on how you treat other people. And if you choose to be a dick, or racist, or bigot, that's a choice. It's a choice you chose to make. I am not a racist. I'm the only person I know for a fact doesn't have the right to be a racist because my ancestry is Native American, black, and white. I am the three primary races that built this country. I am one of the primary races that suffered so this country could be this country that it is. Trail of Tears, every Native American has walked it. Chains and whips, every slave, black, white, and Native Americans all had slaves or were slaves. Do your facts, learn them. But before you treat anybody like shit because of their race, understand this. You didn't get a choice at what race you were born into. If your mom is white and your dad is white and you're white, you didn't get a choice. You can be white and still be just as poor as any black person. If your mom is Asian and your dad is Asian and you are Asian, you can get a choice. And you too can be just as rich as any white person or poor as any black person. If your mom is black and your dad is black and your ass is black, you can be just as rich as any white person or Asian person, and you can just be just as poor. Money and wealth and shit is not distributed equally. Talent is, but you got to get discovered to be talented. I'm not discovered. But again, the one thing that you have to understand as I end this video, no one got a choice in what race they were going to be when they were born. No one. And our parents do the best I can to raise us right, treat us right, and make sure that we treat people equally. And humans need to get that straight. No one got a choice at what race or gender they're going to be. You can change your gender. Can't change this shit. Thanks for watching.